Hello and welcome to the Pursuit of Truth. It's the 13th of June 2019. Two quick things I wanted to talk about. The first one, I was listening to John Thor's latest video, which I think I put in the companion, but you can check on it on YouTube, John Thor. And his video was about YouTube censorship. And it was a really good video. It has a lot of insightful information in from other YouTube creators. Basically saying what I've also echoed as well about it not being YouTube anymore, but their tube, or they tube, or what was it I used to call it? I can't remember now. But it's definitely not YouTube anymore, because originally it was individuals, like, ordinary people making their own content, whereas now it's been taken over by multimedia companies like the BBC, like Fox, like Disney. If you ever look at the trending page, that's all you see. And it talks about that, and it talks to other creators that how they've been censored and how the rules are not fair and they're different for different people. It's really good. And at the end it mentioned another platform, LBRY, LBRY.com. I've looked into it. I haven't unfortunately, I think it's still in a beta stage, so it's not on my phone. I'm trying to still get to log in, but it takes forever just as retrieving information. But I think that's because I'm trying to transfer my YouTube stuff over to them, and I've probably got too much stuff on there. But my only worry with it is it seems to be a lot about money. There's to watch certain videos. You can choose to put your videos for free or for money. So that's where it differs from YouTube, I guess. With YouTube, everything's free, but you can make money out of it by how many people watch. I would have preferred that LBRY adopted that kind of platform where they make money through adverts. Well, I'd rather there's no adverts, actually. I'd rather people could just watch things for free and there's no money involvement. But so I don't know whether I will stick with LBRY, because I've transferred stuff over there, but I don't know if it's done yet. But yeah, when I noticed on some videos there, you have to have credits, but I don't know how you get these credits. Are they through purchasing, through money, or do you get them by watching videos and stuff like that? And then maybe that's not so bad, but why do you need that aspect of money when it's meant to be a free platform for everyone and no censorship? Which I don't know how they're going to get away with doing no censorship, but because anyone could put anything then, which could lead to people being exploited. Anyway, so that was the one aspect, but worth checking it out for the future when YouTube, if it does come tumbling down on us and start removing our videos. So far, I don't think I've had any videos removed. I'm nearly up to 300 of these pursuits, but of course there's only a handful of people that listen to these, so I guess I'm not on their radar. The only time I've ever been told off by YouTube is if I've used third-party music that they don't have a deal with. So that was the one thing I wanted to talk about. And the second thing I want to talk about is what I just heard on Sky News. It's a debate, and I just want the reason it doesn't matter about the subject. I just want to show you how they are when the media has their target, and how they put down other people and how they use their tactics to manipulate the watcher or the listener into thinking a certain way. Because if it was a different time story, they would have a different angle. Because this is about women, and the story is about a strip club that needs a new license, and they've obviously started the debate by having one woman who's going to argue for women's rights, and one woman who's going to argue for the strip club. Neither of them have any involvement in the strip club, but the interesting thing is how when anyone comes up with a point, the presenter cuts her down. And remember, these are all three women that are, it seems to me a simple thing that ideally you can look at this argument as saying that obviously these strip clubs, they shouldn't exist because they devalue women, they don't empower women, and this empowerment of women wearing less clothes, and that somehow empowering is to me a false statement, and is more likely a man's impression that is put upon a woman. It still makes women objects. So I don't understand how any woman could be defending that. but there's this belief that there is some form of empowerment, which to me just seems to get around what the feminists have been trying to fight for years, which is equality. But then they argue that by saying, well, men can do the same thing as well, and we make them objects as well. Well, surely the point of our society should be, as human species, that we don't need this kind of objectivity of the species, that it has a lot of negative problems with it. But anyway, let me just play this to you so you can hear it, and you'll see how the media works to create its agenda and not give to help one side out more than the other, because the presenter or the representative of the media, they have their they have their side and they want to keep their side, and it's obvious that she's not objective, because you can hear how she defends one and talks over the other and cuts that one down whenever a point is made. Anyway, let me play it for you. Hopefully it'll be loud enough. I'll put the phone next to the speaker.
The twerking class heroes, dancers at a strip club in Sheffield, have been taking to the streets to protest against their club being shut down. Well, a row has developed over whether to renew the licence of the club, Spearmint Rhino, after reports that private investigators had filmed sex acts taking place on the premises. It sparked a big debate over whether strip clubs are inherently exploitative or whether the women who work there should decide for themselves. Well, joining us now from Sheffield to discuss this, Nancy Fielder, editor of The Star up in Sheffield, and Charlotte Mead, who is leader of the Sheffield Women's Equality Party. Good morning to you both. This is really interesting because it's been billed as feminists against feminists. On one side of the debate, women saying, my body, my choice. On the other side, women going, this is from the 1970s. It's completely outdated. Nancy, your paper has spoken to many of the dancers. What have they been saying to you?
Morning, SJ. So they're really annoyed that they feel in a debate about women, their voice isn't being heard, and they get a lot of abuse for the job that they do. They feel the abuse doesn't necessarily come from the people you'd expect it to. It's coming from women who are campaigning for women's rights, which is why they've gone so public, which is why they marched through the middle of Sheffield with their rather brilliantly written signs and placards, and they're saying, look, give us a voice too. We're not just victims in this, we're making money. We need to get through university with that money, and shutting it down isn't necessarily the right option.
Yeah, you know, those women saying this is how we put food on the table, we choose to work here. Charlotte, why do you think that they shouldn't have the choice to work there? Why do you want their jobs taken away from them?
Well, it's not a case of us wanting to take jobs away from women, and I think it's very interesting that that's the way that it's always presented. It's when we talk about choice isn't made in a vacuum. Choices are based on the opportunities that are available to people. And we all know that not everybody has the same opportunities as everybody else. So I would like to have a society where women are not expected to make the choice, and I say that in inverted commas, the choice to have to do sex work in order to put food on the table. And I think it's a bigger debate about the fact that we are thinking that this is the way for women out of poverty. Nobody's arguing that it's the way for men out of poverty, but we seem to be arguing that it's the way for women out of poverty. And that's just a reflection really about the society that we have at the moment and the inequality that we have in society.
Is being a pole dancer sex work, though? I know there's this investigation ongoing about sex acts happening inside the club. But as a general rule, strippers say it's a safe environment to work in. There are rules in place and the establishments protect the dancers. How is pole dancing or lap dancing sex work?
Well, I say sex work because that is what they've started to call themselves. So I'm using the language that they've used. But I think the wider debate here really is about what we as a society say is okay. And the fact that empowerment has been kind of dressed up as women conforming to their assigned roles as sexual objects for men, that's just been a great PR exercise, really. It's no different from what it was before, but now we're told that somehow it's empowering. And that's just a very convenient justification for the people from that situation for it to continue.
I tell you what, a lot of people are finding uncomfortable this morning, Charlotte, and Nancy, perhaps you could talk to us about this. It's women telling other women what to do, which many women are saying, look, that undermines feminism. It should be up to women, the individual, to tell us what they find empowering and have the choice to do what they want to do.
And I think it's very interesting. I think that debate is very interesting because you never hear from men in this debate. Nobody ever, you know, and I have to say that it's the media that set up women against women.
Okay, well, I tell you what, we've had lots of men getting in touch on social media. We'll come to those tweets in a moment. But Nancy, I'll allow you to respond to that, because that's what a lot of the dancers are saying. It's other women taking the choice of what they want to do for a living out of their hands.
That is what they're saying, and they feel that the abuse they get is coming from women, which is a sad thing. I completely agree. In an ideal world, we wouldn't want this kind of occupation for a woman to have to put food on the table to feed the children or to do the masters so that they can go on and get whatever career they want. But that's where we're at. And actually, I think to target one particular club kind of ignores the fact that there are illegal brothels, there are sex trades that use women as sex slaves, that they don't get paid at all. I think there is a massive, massive issue here. We haven't got the same number of women in the boardrooms, but I think targeting this particular kind of club, and let's be honest, this particular kind of club which is making millions for men in America who own the trade, rather than the women in Sheffield who are just making enough to make ends meet. The debate is an interesting one, and it's kind of, for me, it's focusing on something that has pitted women against women, but I don't think it is as easy as saying the women have become victims of a PR campaign. They were really annoyed their voices weren't being heard. They felt they're already treated like they're bottom of the ladder, they're complete scum in society, and they felt that this was yet another attack on them, and they're worried that they can't pay the bills at the end of the month if the licence is taken away.
Well, Gamal's here. He's been looking at reaction from viewers this morning on social media, at Sky News, #Sunrise to have your say. What have people been saying?
Lots of reaction, and from both men and women to this debate. I mean, this, for example, is from Gillian, who says, I was a stripper for 17 years. It was my profession, not just a quick money earner. I went on to be a barrister. Many women objected. Too bad. This one from Colin, he says, it has been many years since I was in one, but I always felt that the women were the ones in control. As with most professions, some seem to enjoy it and others are apparently in it for the money because they know that they are good at it. Surely it's about their choice. And just this final one from Alan, he says, I find it funny that women are supposed to be improving situations, but all they are doing is upsetting and making other women jobless.
Yeah, Charlotte, it's interesting. I mean, we have heard from a lot of the dancers, speaking to the Star, the newspaper in Sheffield, and other outlets as well, saying, some of them are saying, I have sort of grown as a person doing this. I'm more confident. I like the way I look. And why shouldn't I make money out of my looks? I'm not actually doing anything illegal or wrong.
No, but I think, but it's not just about the women in the club, and I think that's the real point, really. It's about society in general, and in society we have huge issues still with inequality between men and women. We have huge issues in the gender pay gap, in healthcare, in parenting and equal caregiving, in treatment in and by the media as well. And all those issues, and violence against women, and all those issues mean that we still have an unequal society. When we've got a situation where recent research showed that two-thirds of girls between the age of 14 and 21 say that they have been sexually harassed in a public place, we have to take that on board, and we have to say, what is it that we're doing in society that means that men feel that they are entitled to do that? That men in society feel that it is okay for them to do that.
I just want to get a final word from Nancy because we're running out of time. I've had a lot of people getting in touch and going, for example, this from Christine Brown, who's got in touch on Twitter, saying, if stripping is sex work and should be stopped, then let's ban the Dream Boys and the Chippendales as well. Women enjoy that. If people are getting paid and are happy, then who cares? Work is work. Nancy.
Yeah, I mean, it is such a difficult debate. It's never going to go away, is it? Because stripping is never going to stop, let's be honest. But I think the debate about actually where you're safe, and I think these women say they are safe, there's never police trouble there. There's lots of police trouble in city centre pubs. It's never there. And I can think actually there's probably more danger for your average girl going out and having a drink, dressed how she should be able to dress how she wants. But I think the real risk is there. And if it's all connected, absolutely fine. But I think this is kind of an easy target, and there's a bigger issue that we need to protect in women, and I'm not sure this is the answer.
Okay, Nancy Fielder and Charlotte Mead in Sheffield for us this morning. Thank you. That is a developing story there. Thank you to everyone.
Well, there, as you can see, that she shut the one that was against stripping down twice. and never talked over the other lady, always used the other lady as a weapon, like whenever she needed some kind of backup. The loaded viewers' points, all three of the points were pro-stripping. There was no objectivity in that at all, yet they claim they're objective. It just, I mean, you could just see how that's how the media works. It has its, is objective, that it wants to say that it's okay for women to be free to have the choice to strip. And the other point is this idea of this idea of nothing can change, that everything is the way it is. Well, that concept is a false concept if you believe that every single person has an equal amount of power, which is intrinsically true, as each other. The only reason nothing takes place, nothing changes, is because we don't do anything about it. We just accept it and we say, well, this is the way the world is. Well, is that good enough for your children, or for your children's children, or for society, or for the species, to just say that, oh, well, that's just the way it is? No, let's take the effort and make the change. Let's change people's minds, rather than, the media has a great opportunity to change people's minds. That's what it does every single day. That was what that argument was trying to do. It wasn't fair or equal or objective at all. It was obviously pro-stripping, pro this club. You probably find there's some executives in Sky News that have shares in it or something. I don't know why. You can easily see, even the person who's trying to argue for stripping could understand that ideally that this isn't the way that women should have to live. Well, then why are we living by that way? Who's forcing us to do that? Are we living in a world where we're forced to do things, or we're meant to be free and have freedom of choice? So if we understand that, is not the best way for things, well, why can't we make the change? Oh no, just because that's the way it is and we're powerless. Take care, take it easy, God bless and peace.